All right, welcome back to the channel. We're going to be going over some of the big plays that happened today. And most of all, I'm going to give you my favorite play going into tomorrow and why I see it happening. And I'm going to back it up with facts as well. But before we even do that, we need to talk about what happened today. You see, we talked about yesterday, Amazon was going to go to the stratosphere. Today, Tesla went to the moon. I mean, what's next? SPY's already ripping back to 457. You had your death cross, you had your yields invert. Everyone's saying you're going down, but why do you continue to go up? That's what we're talking about in the video, and we're giving you the best plays possible as well. Like, subscribe, do what you gotta do. Let's get to it.
I got no drip in my pocket.
Okay, so the first we're gonna do is pull up the SPY chart. Now, we did talk about yesterday as well, going over what's going on with that chart. We mentioned you had a little bit of downside going into Friday, but the main thing to look at on Friday and Thursday was the two closes going on the option count. So for instance, you usually have a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday close, but this week you had a Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. It was very different, and things never really happened like that. It was a very weird close to the month. So you need to keep that in the back of your mind when that starts to happen. And you need to be following those dates. So as you saw that close, and as you saw it close on Friday, you saw something very interesting happen, because Thursday you saw the big dip. Friday was kind of a dip, really sideways movement. At the end of the day, you pumped all the way back up, and that's what gave you that footing, showing you where the volume was. It was towards the buyers, and that's the main point of this channel when we're looking at the charts. Now, when you go to some of these channels, it's all these chart furus, and they're telling you got the MACD, RSI, everything's crossing up, and everything's telling you we're going in one direction. But if we look at what's happening, if we're listening to those guys, if we're listening to the yield man, and we're looking to the death cross, we should be going down. However, we're bouncing from those lows. So what we need to do is pay attention to the facts. The one facts when you look at a chart is you can see what's happened before, and you can look at where buyers are buying based on volume. Those are factual things looking at a chart. Everything else is basically a history of what's happened, and you're trying to predict based on that history before using moving averages, and it doesn't account for what's actually happening with volume. And I'm going to tell you right now, volume is king, specifically when it comes to price action. So when we look at the market, that's why I saw what I saw. Now, I did mention that it was a bit of a gamble.
Not financial advice.
Whenever you're investing in anything, it's going to be a gamble. But Nvidia, Home Depot, everything else like that absolutely paid off. The big FANG plays went absolutely nuts. And the one that I missed out was Apple. And I even mentioned it and told you guys going into Friday, going into Saturday, that was going to be my biggest regret. Apple ended up bouncing from the depths of hell at 172 all the way back to the pearly gates of 178.5 roughly.
This is a truly historic investment.
An absolute monster of a play. But what we need to talk about is the big boy coming up. This is possibly my favorite play going on for the week, and something very important is happening right now. Now, for over the past year and a half, possibly honestly like 3 years, if you're really looking at it, everyone's been terrified of Chinese stocks and getting delisted. Now, things are changing specifically with regulation rules, and the fear of Chinese stocks getting delisted is out of the window. So some of the most hyped stocks were in that Chinese sector have been getting absolutely slaughtered. One of them being Didi, Baba, and a personal favorite, and one you probably know and made an absolute killing on over the past 2 years, NIO. And NIO is my favorite play right now. Now, if you know what's going on with Tesla, they absolutely murdered their numbers. I mean, when they announced the numbers of deliveries, it was astonishing. Even with supply chain shortages, they're still killing it. How do they do it? But one thing no one's talking about is NIO having the best quarter of all time for the company. Over 10,000 vehicles delivered, and their new vehicle coming out now, which is supposed to be the leader, being delivered going into next month. And they're predicting that they have an even monster month next month, beating this month's record. As I know, I'm saying records months on repeat. But what we need to look at again is going to be the data. Now, when we look at this data, I don't want you to get confused, because I'm gonna break it down to you very simply. But when you come to the channel, you need to know I'm trading options. I'm the options man, the king, the prince, whatever you want to call me. That's what I do. I trade options, and I keep it very simple for you, and I try to make it in a very understandable way for you. If you want to check out the lives, I am live typically every day. I'm trying to go live right at open, or around the first 30 minutes of open at least, and then live for about 2 hours after that, just to give you guys time to ask questions, get involved in the market, and then kind of pinball ideas off each other, as well as I am in the community with Discord as well. So it's kind of a joint community thing going on there. Absolutely free. You don't have to donate or anything like that. Now, going back to what we're looking at, it's the options count going. And you're going to see a picture right here going over what's happening with that data. Now, you're seeing there is a lot of pent-up demand on the options at 24, 24.5, and then 25. And then you already have a lot in the money at 23 as well. And this is going to be interesting because if you look at the put to call ratio, it's even more attractive. As you look at it right there, you're going to see it's looking interesting. A 0.185 put to call ratio means basically for every single call being put out betting on the upside, there's one put. So for 5 calls, there's one put, and it can't get that much bullish than that. And when you're looking at these contracts, when you want to say they actually affect the price of the stock, you want to be close to in the money. And this is where you get into the realm of the quote unquote gamma squeeze.
I'm Hans, I'm Franz, and we want to pump you up.
And I don't even want to use that word. So just back up, boys. Back up. But as we get into this, it's important to know the possibility of what's going on here. So all day you got to this $24 level and you pinballed staying right below it. End of the day, I added contracts. I know I'm a risky guy. So when I'm looking here, it's worth the risk in my opinion. You have the SPY absolutely pumping. You have NEO giving great numbers and they're projected to do even better next month. New vehicles across the board. That's good there. And then on top of it, the cherry on top of the sundae, the delisting news is kind of out of the window. And that was the only bad thing behind NEO. Now I can go all day into fundamentals behind NEO, why I love it. And I continue to say it's one of my favorite long-term stocks, but I don't even want to do that. Just based on this chart as well, you can see the pent up demand. This thing has room to run. So going into tomorrow, if you break above 24, I see momentum kicking in high gear. Now, if you are following me on Twitter, you would have got this alert absolutely free. Now, I will admit some of my tweets are a little bit cryptic. In the Discord, I posted my direct entries and what I was doing there personally, not financial advice, just being transparent with you guys as usual. And I post my winners, I post my losers, I post them all. You're going to have bad months, you're going to have good months, and then of course, you're going to have great months. And that's what we're here for. But looking at what's going on, I love NEO. And then before we hop out of here, I do want to cover 2 other stocks, the memes for the boys. Let's get to the charts. Before we get too far down into the shadow realm of AMC and GME, I want to just announce this right now. You have no stock still available since Friday. That is really good news regarding GME. AMC do have some left, just so you know. But what we're going to do is look at the chart. And when we get to this, there is a concern. Now, what I want to point out right here is going to be one thing and one thing only. I am not a Fibonacci guy. I am not an Elliott wave guy, but I have people posting these Elliott wave charts saying that if this is your first leg, then your second leg come down and you have to come to the 0.618. So they're justifying this move. It's important to know when you're looking at Elliott waves, and I have studied them. I've done my research. I understand them. There's a lot of rules that go back into this, so it's very easy to make a mistake when it comes to doing them. That's the real concern there. But when you're looking at what's happening, the second wave typically only pulls back to that 0.5 region, and you just pull back to it, and you're getting rejected there right now. That typically is not a good point of view, and that's really not a good technical standpoint, but we're going to get into that now. Now, as you ended the week, I did mention coming to the zone. From a technical point of view, that was bearish. Yes, you can go rewatch the video. I said that is bearish that you're closing right there because what's happening right now. And I'm just going to demonstrate what I mean by that's bearish. So when you're looking at a chart and you're a stock, right? So let's say your stock is trending above resistance and this right here is resistance. You bounce, you come up. Now, if you break through and you come back, this is bearish. Right here, this is a technical point of view where you always short. This is where you get puts. It's a money-making opportunity. This is just the highest risk reward because why? Now, I've gone the teaching, done stuff like that. You're always looking to get into the retest, right? So if you're breaking below it, you break through. You don't want to get longs on the first breakthrough. You want to wait till you get above, and you want to get in that retest and play to the upside. So that's your entry point for calls, longs, whatever it may be. And the same goes for the short side. So if you come below it, what you're looking for always is you're trending below, you come below, boom, boom, you're looking for shorts right there. So I did let everyone know that that was my point of view, but it was also good to know that you ended the week just at the support in general. So if you look at like a daily time frame, that was good because the candle would have shown you right there. But on a smaller micro level, it was quote unquote bearish. So then what happened? You came in, you opened, and you shot straight down to 21.9. And I'm going to get into why that's not that good. And I'm going to talk about GME as well. But you can see you've been hitting resistance all day long at that daily open, roughly 23.4. I think if you come out tomorrow with SPY strong, you should break above this and start pushing towards the $25 region. But you don't even want to play this, in my opinion, until you get back above the weekly. There's no point because that's just such a strong resistance. So you want to wait until you break above that resistance to play calls to that $25 region. Now, what the concern was here is when we come to the SPY. And this has to concern you because when you look at the SPY, the big thing here is AMC GME. You've been following the SPY to a T. You topped off right about here and then you came down. That's when AMC AMC and GME topped off on their move. You can go look. I don't care what you say. It's true. Point blank period. Now what happened is you started pushing up all day long. You opened up about right here. You came down for a second, and then boom, you haven't stopped. You've been going full bull like we talked about. But AMC and GME have not been completely following. Now, GME looks a little bit better, but you can see SPY is just running nonstop. Now, when we go to GME, again, it does look better. You can see you've mounted that weekly level, whereas AMC has not. They both had that dip this morning, but GME found a bottom, almost a double bottom, shot up, and you got about to 172, which I mentioned in the live. You had 162. If you were in the live this morning, I said you're probably going to hit the 172 region, which was a $10 move from those local bottoms, and now you're mounting on top of that resistance right there, which again we mentioned in the live, and you're making a double bottom. You've tested that weekly 1-2 times as well, looking very bullish. So if you look at AMC, you can see the difference, right? It's basically like an inverted chart. AMC's resistance is there. Looking at GME, that's your support. So this is looking strong, and you're looking for a test of, I know, 189. That's a great level. You about $20 to get there, so that's actually great news. But I'd be looking at 179 for a short-term resistance as well, but they do look good. Keynotes here. You want and you need to see the SPY continue, and I think you're going to see that happen. I think SPY will be retesting the 461 region, 462 fairly soon. I think the market's extremely bullish. Go look at some of the big tech stocks, FANG stocks, whatever you may look at. Tesla, absolute rocket ship. I mentioned this one earlier. Looking at Amazon. Monster move today, guys. Monster, boom, straight up, almost an 80-90 point move there. You can look at Apple. All your FANG stocks, the whole market is showing so much strength. So I think this is going to continue. Everything looks incredibly, incredibly strong. So keep your head on a swivel. All right, traders, that's going to wrap the video up. If you got anything else, I do appreciate if you like and subscribe. It helps out the channel tremendously. More content is coming every single day. I'm telling you exactly the trades that I'm liking, how I'm viewing the market. It is an honest approach to how I am looking at it. I'm never giving you information for a like, a sub, or anything like that. I could care less if you really love the content. It's more about giving you a transparent viewpoint and just showing you what's really going on behind the scenes when it comes to day trading every single day. So I appreciate the likes, the subscribes, all that in the above. But if you have to, unsubscribe. And remember one thing, we run the market.
Houston, we might have a problem, but that don't mean money will solve them. No, that don't mean money will solve them. Woke up dreaming other commas, and I got a